Alright guys, we're continuing with our iteration adventure. We're looking at part C. This video is mostly just practice, so no new content. We're just looking at how to use this iteration formula with a couple of examples. So you will need a calculator. Just a quick recap. The change of sign is a good way of showing that there's a solution between two values. And if you use the iterative formula, you can get closer and closer to the exact solution. So this is the formula we're going to use in this video in red, and we know that our starting number is 5. So it's asking us to find x6 if we've got x0, so let's just write x0 is equal to 5, and x1 is going to be equal to the cube root of, now we're going to think about what we put in our calculator. We know the first term is 5, so it's going to be 2 times answer squared, answer meaning the previous term, plus the previous answer, plus 1. Now in this case, answer in both cases is 5, so that goes into your calculator, and then we're just going to put that in now. Okay, so we're going to press 5 equals, and then shift cube root of 2 times answer squared plus answer plus 1, and all of that underneath the root. So you press equals, you get 3.8258. Press it again to get x3, x4, x5, and x6. So you copy these out as you go through these. Now I have these on the slide, so I'm going to actually just put these down here, and you can see what you end up with for for x6 is these values here, and that is how you can show what your answers are. Now you should write as many digits as you can, and then this is what you're going to get your final mark for as well. So you must show all the previous answers, and you must use the answer key. If you round your answer earlier on, your following answers will be off, so you're going to lose accuracy marks. Remember, this is still ultimately an estimate for the solution. It's an approximation, that's why we say approximating solutions. So this is what the graph looks like, and we can see on this graph is slightly more than 2.5, which is what we were expecting, about 2.61. Now obviously you wouldn't have time to plot the graph in real life, and this is the whole point of iteration, is it allows you to solve an equation using this method. And just again to recap, you don't really know why this works. It is a bit beyond GCSE for now, but I'll put an extra video at the end that shows you if you want to, if you're curious about it. So what you should notice about these is they all get closer and closer to a specific value, and that will help us get closer to the answer. So here's a second question for you to practice. Pause the video and have a go, and remember it's asking you to work out all the way up to x5. In red is your iterative formula, and you're going to start with x0 equals -2. Okay, so here are the answers. Pause the video if you need more time. So we know the first term is -2 because that's given to us, and then you should get -1.428, and then -1.36, -1.32, and up to x5. And then you can see it's going to be -1.273 if you're giving it to 3 decimal places, as it states. Okay, so we know that these answers are going to converge to a specific value. So have a go with the following question just after we look at what converging means. So converging just means they get closer and closer to a specific value. So in this case, you can see, is this a converging sequence? Well, you can see it's getting closer and closer to 0. So it converges to 0. This below sequence here kind of gets closer and closer to 1. Now this on the right hand side, you can see it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it will just keep getting bigger. So this is not converging towards a specific number. And then the one below it is also getting bigger and bigger, but in a negative direction. Okay, so what we want to look at here in the following example is what the answer converges to, and the opposite of converging is diverging. So use the formula here, and I'm going to show you the answers in a minute. Okay, so pause the video if you need more time. So first thing we want to know here is the first term is 1, that's given to us, and then you're going to do the square root of 3, take away the answer, and these are the values you're going to get. Now if you keep pressing equals on your calculator, notice this doesn't tell you how many times to do it. It just says find it to 3 decimal places. So you just keep going up until the point where the first 3 decimal places stop changing. So you can see after x8 it basically converges towards 1.302 something. So in this case the sequence is convergent, and what I would say is 1.303 is what we're going to round it to, because you can see if it's 3 decimal places and there's this, the digit after that 2 is greater than 5 or 5, then the 2 will become a 3. So 1.303 is what our solution will be. So if you get a question like this, you wouldn't be expected to write every single answer, but you might be asked explicitly to write the first 3 values, and then you just keep smashing the equals button until it stops changing, and then you can see that's going to be your answer. Okay, so here's another example for you to try. Use the iterative formula given to find the solution to the following equation to 2 decimal places. Start with x0 equals 0. Pause the video and I'm going to show you the answer in 3, 2, 1. Right, so here are the values that you get, and if you round these you can see that they end up rounding to about 0.30 to 2 decimal places, and that's going to be your answer. Okay, now in terms of how to find the iterative formula, we're going to look at that in the next video, and that will be separate to the main playlist, because why this works and why and how you rearrange these is beyond GCSE level maths. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.